Jesus is on the beach. They have spent the entire night not catching anything. And Jesus calls out to them in verse 5. He called out to them, friends, where are your fish, right? And what he's doing right here is he's basically reminding them, you guys have lost your way. Why? How? Well, because when Jesus first meets them, especially, Peter, James, John, the disciples are present because they're fishermen. And when he talks to them after fishing, he says to them, guys, I want you to follow me. And weirdly, because, Jesus is God, and there's something different about him. Weirdly, they say, yes, we'll follow you. They leave their father, who's the fisherman, with them. This is a family business. And they're like, yeah, we'll follow you. And he says, good, because I'm gonna make you fishers of men. And now what's happened is they're devastated. Peter is undone by his betrayal. And make no mistake, Peter's betrayal is worse because Jesus foretold it. And Peter said, not me. This could happen to anybody else, but not me. And he's living in the shame of that. And what did they do when that happened? Well, they were told to go back to Galilee, which is home. And when they arrived back to familiar places, they went back to familiar things. Let's get in the boat. Why? Because we know how to do this. This is what we know how to do. And sometimes when you and I feel like we fail with God or with someone else, we go back sometimes to the things that we thought were working before, but they don't work anymore. His question is, do you have any fish? And the answer is no. Why? Because you and I don't get to go back to the things that used to work anymore. Because when they worked, it's because Jesus was there with us in them. But now, he's not there with them in the same way. They're trying to go back to the old things. Some of us go back to old relationships. And here's what's crazy about it. You and I know this a little bit, but it's different to know it and experience it. Sometimes we even go back to the dysfunctional things because they're comfortable and familiar. They're like, I don't know where I'm going right now. I'd rather go back to something abusive and ugly than to stay in the place of unsurety, insecurity. And so he's in the background going, hey guys, how's that working for you? Do you have any fish? The answer is no. You don't have any fish because I'm not in fishing with you anymore. I'm in making you fishers of men. And I'm gonna empower that destiny for you. I'm gonna empower that future for you. But this old thing that was yours, I don't empower that anymore. I'm not present with you in that anymore. This is not what I'm doing. So he does something crazy. Verse 6, he said, here's what I want you guys to do. Throw your net on the right side of the boat and you'll find some fish, right? Hold on a second. These are professional fishermen. And his suggestion is you can't get any fish over here. Why don't you go over here and get some fish? That's dumb. It doesn't actually make any sense. So why does Jesus seemingly make a dumb statement to them here? Well, I think it's because it's not dumb, but I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to say, I want you to trust me. So a professional fisherman would go, listen, it doesn't make a difference where you are. When you're down far enough, it doesn't matter if you're on the right or the left, you're right there in the same place. It's foolishness. But for some reason, again, even though they don't know it's Jesus, they do what he says. I think sometimes God gives us a next step without a map. And what I mean by that is, very rarely does God give the map. Here's why. If he said to you, in the next 5 years, here are the 10 things that I've laid out on your path, right? And you and I go, awesome. This is great. I get to walk in and I can know where I'm going. But you know what would also happen simultaneously? We wouldn't need God anymore. We'd be like, I know where the next blessing is. I'll just hold off. I'll just go from thing to thing to thing. And I don't need you at all. So sometimes God gives you and I a solution that seems to make no sense to us. This is why the Bible teaches you and me, do not lean on your own understanding, but acknowledge him in all your ways, and he's gonna make your straight path, right? So he's like, I don't want you to trust in your wisdom and your knowledge all the time. What I want you to do is when I give you something that doesn't seem to make sense for you, I want you to trust me, because on the other side of your trust is where my blessing is. And so when they lowered the thing, they obeyed him. When they lowered down the thing, too many fish were pulled up. They could not pull the nets into the boat because God's supernatural, because again, that's not what fish do. They don't go, oh, a net, let's jump in, right? So they go, boom, they pull this in because they were obedient. On the other side of their obedience was blessing. Everything they needed and more. Everything they needed and more. And the same thing's true for you. Like if you're in that place right now where you're just trying to figure out like, what's the next step? And you're asking God for the map, he's not gonna give it to you because he loves you and his economy is not based on whether or not you're obedient, it's whether or not you are faith-filled. Because when you are faith-filled, you will walk in obedience.